everybody, it's Georgeryals from Archery Learning Center. I'm here at Last Chance Archery, and we are now here and we're ready for the big four. Step number 4. We're finally ready to actually shoot the arrow. If you're just getting with us here, look back and look at steps 1, 2, and 3. All of these steps together create a very consistent action with your body, so that your body movements are consistent as well as the bow itself shooting the arrow in a consistent way. Because this thing is inherently consistent. It will do the same thing every time. Whether if it's right or wrong, it'll do the same thing every time, right? This dumb stick flinger only does what you tell it to do. So what we're trying to do with the big four is create a consistent message that we're giving to the bow so that it always knows what to do. And every shot, whether if it's a shot through the paper, you're shooting at a deer, you're shooting a 3D, you're shooting 50 meters outdoors, you're shooting uphill in an attack event, whatever the shot is, it's only one shot. It's only the same shot, right? So there's no real distinction on how you shoot the bow within those different things. It's one shot, it's the same thing, right? So here's what we're gonna learn this. Step 4 is follow through. Now, for the most part, follow through, or the direction of your follow through, is a side effect of the direction and pressure that you put on the bow. Because you're at full draw, you're holding 14, 15 pounds at full draw, and suddenly the release lets go. So that amount of, reaction that you get will be dependent on how much holding weight that you have in the bow. So when you get back here to full draw, and then you're all anchored and ready to go, if you have 14 or 15 pounds of pressure at full draw, you will get 14 or 15 pounds of reaction. Now, the direction of follow through is only caused by the direction of the pressure that you apply to the setup when you're aiming at the target. Coaches will watch the direction of your follow through to decide whether if you did that right or if you need help figuring something out, right? But what you'll do is you'll let the direction just do its thing. But the thing that you do is mentally and physically, you're gonna stay in the shot until the end. One of the most common mistakes that I see all the time is when a shooter is at full draw, and the second they perceive that the release has let go, they turn off the effort. Some of them will even look away from the target and they're already reaching for another arrow, or they let their torso follow their hand like this. And you could imagine why I would be missing low left all the time, because I let my torso and everything move. You get used to that flow and you get used to that feeling, right? And your subconscious will begin that action a little bit early. Your subconscious is really good at doing those things. So you need to set a very consistent message that your head, your eyes, your bow hand, everything stays on target for a couple of beats after the release breaks. You're going to stay involved in the shot. Coaches call that eye focus. When you keep your eyeballs on the target even after the release has fired, and you stay in that effort to make sure that you have completed the shot all the way through to the end. A lot of times if you're doing 50 meters and you're shooting in the wind, and you may have to aim off in the red so that the wind drifts your arrow in the middle. If you're at full draw and you're aiming at the red, and the second the release breaks and you snap your eyes over to the middle of the 10 to see if it hits, you'll find that you miss off to the other side in the red. So if you're having to aim off, you have to continue to follow through and keep your eyes in the red until the arrow hits the target. And I always like to leave it a couple of beats, right? And if I'm extra nervous, I will really exaggerate that step. Because once you get to the point that you're pretty good at archery and you're shooting decent scores, you already know how to shoot. And your subconscious has this really good like automatic mode that kind of keeps everything consistent-ish. And If you exaggerate the follow through and put all of your focus on follow through instead of aiming, you put it on follow through, you already know how to shoot. So your brain is going to line up all the steps that you need in order to get a perfect shot, because the shot has to be clean to get a clean follow through. So focus on the follow through. And the more nervous I am, I'm standing in Vegas, I'm shooting a shoot off arrow. You know, you get to that point where you snap that arrow on the string and then it's your turn to let go, and you realize that you got one arrow left to shoot and all the rest of those dudes has missed. And 10,000 people sitting up in the stands are holding their breath, waiting to see where your arrow hits. That's when you really exaggerate the follow through. And mentally, I'm thinking, I'm going to make this follow through look so good. If the earth cracks open and swallows me whole, I'm going to make sure that anyone watching me release that arrow, no matter where the arrow hits, anyone watching me shoot, they're going to go, well, he did everything he could do, right? I want them to see that shot effort and go, wow, did you see that shot? Usually when you do that, when you're nervous, the pen's moving a lot of extra, or at least your brain perceives it that way. When you follow through with a good, consistent hold, right, and you hold that follow through and you stay invested all the way through, most of the time you get a dead center hit. You may confess later, I don't even know how I hit that. The pen was everywhere. But the good follow through puts it in there, and then your brain and your skill and your training can do the work that it's supposed to do and get you that good shot. So now Quinn is going to demonstrate follow through, and what we're looking for is your head stays still, your eyes stay still, and when the release breaks, boom, 1, 2, and then in a controlled way, bring your bow back and load the bow. Don't let that be automatic. Do it on purpose. Hold it, 2, 3, and then put the bow down, and you'll get the best shot you can. So Quinn, show us what that looks like. You can see Quinn shooting his bow under pressure at the Hornet Power Christmas camp. Yeah. And you can see that follow through doing its job, right? So look back at some of my old videos. You'll see him doing it. Very good. Torso stayed still, bow stayed up, everything stayed on, and the bow was allowed to just do what it needs to do to shoot an arrow. So if you're having a day, you know, everybody's had that day where you're just out. You're trying to hit the middle and you're just out. You know, I'm shooting good shots, it feels good, but I'm just out. If you really exaggerate the follow through, and really pay attention to your eye focus and stay in the middle of the bullseye, you can take a just out day to just in and totally transform your tournament score. So that is it. That is the big 4, and that's really all you need to do to create extreme consistency. You may still be working on your form. You may be still trying to get things right, but if you use the big 4, whatever you have working for you today will do the best job that it can possibly do for you to get you the best score that you're absolutely capable of. So go back, look at 1, 2, and 3, and this is 4, the big 4, and we'll see you again next week for a brand new thing a week.